Awareness Committee in conjunction with entitled Making It Through the Maze at UCI, Sharing the Disabled Perspective. I began my career at UCI in the fall of 1986. Just as any other freshman, I was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, with a head full of the dreams and aspirations that a college education promises. In 1988, the summer of my sophomore year, these dreams and aspirations came to a halt, as I was involved as a passenger in a near-fatal hit-and-run auto accident. I was the only one injured, and my injuries were plentiful. My neck was broken at the C4-5 level, which makes me a high-level quadriplegic. My head was split open, and I lost almost all my blood, requiring 67 blood transfusions to replenish my supply. I was in a coma for 2.5 weeks, fading in and out of consciousness for 2 months after, and I required 3 months of intensive care treatment, with 5 months of rehabilitation following. People are always telling me that they don't know how they would have handled this if it had happened to them. Well, having the most incredible parents in the world and a lot of support from family and friends really helped, but much was needed from within.
Right on.
In response, I explained to them that in order to cope with what has happened to me, all I need to do is think of the alternative outcomes that could have resulted from the accident. I could be dead, which means that I would not be capable of experiencing the joys that life has to offer. I could also have survived, yet without all my mental faculties. For a while, people were thinking that I was brain damaged, and for good reason. Instead, I survived with the trade-off of being a quadriplegic. I'm still able to speak, I'm still able to think, I'm still able to share. I just have an alternative way of getting around. Well, the line is less fine than that. But as far as emotional and cognitive abilities go, I'm just a regular person who necessitates the use of a wheelchair to get around. I'm pretty much the same person I was 2.5 years ago, though I've grown many years in experience. The title of our project is Making It Through the Maze at UCI, Sharing the Disabled Perspective. If anyone is capable of sharing the disabled perspective at UCI, I would think it would be me, since I have had the unique experience of first tackling the campus as an able-bodied student, and then having to re-tackle it as a student with a disability. Each and every day I encounter new barriers and obstacles that impair my ability to accomplish my goals. What would originally take a 5-minute walk now takes a 15 to 20-minute trek across campus due to structural barriers that impede a wheelchair's progress. The seed for this event was planted in fall quarter of '90, in which I had my first contact with Jack McManus, the program coordinator of the Student Center. This occurred when a friend and I attempted to find our way through the still infantile Student Center. After wandering around the maze of the Student Center for 20 minutes, looking for an accessible path to the cone factory, we came to a set of stairs equipped with a stair lift, which required a key to operate. We secured Jack, who didn't possess a key, nor knew who had one. The stair lift was therefore useless. He showed us an alternate route, which was a 10-minute trek all in itself, with many doors to open, making it impossible for me to ever independently make it through the Student Center. On the way, he discussed his desire for Disabled Student Services to put on a disabled awareness event at the center, as he too had to experience the center from a wheelchair's perspective due to a bad back, and had discovered the inconveniences a person with a disability must face. He had encountered the right person, since I am the co-commissioner of the Disabled Awareness Committee. I discussed this idea with my co-commissioner, Luz Padois, and we began work on what we will hope will be an educative event for all. We recruited the invaluable help of Ellen Schlosser and Enda Leung of the yearbook, along with their great staff, and the members of the Disabled Awareness Committee of Disabled Student Services. I am hoping that through this event, we will not only educate the student body about different disabilities and the abilities associated with them, but I also hope that we will reach the educators and administrators to educate them, and hopefully institute some changes that will affect future generations of students with disabilities here at UCI. I believe that the reason why there is not a large population of students with disabilities at UCI is because a vicious cycle has been created. This cycle consists of the following steps. The developers make the minimal accommodations in construction to meet the building codes of the day. A prospective student with a disability will take a tour of the campus later on and find it extremely unaccommodating and inconvenient for their disability. In future constructions or remodelings, the planners make only the minimal accommodations and changes. Since these accommodations would only affect a small population anyhow, prospective students being turned off by the inconveniences experienced in the previous steps. The cycle continues. While this may be a simplistic explanation for the lack of a large disabled population on campus, I feel that it is a contributive factor. When deciding to return to UCI after discharge from the hospital, I did have my doubts about surviving on campus in a wheelchair due to my knowledge of the layout of the campus. I decided to take on the campus, and now through my experiences, I will hopefully effect some changes for future students. Since it is an impossible feat to have everyone experience what it is like to be a student with a disability, we've taken it upon ourselves to inform the campus about disabilities through this event. In it, we are hoping to pass on some valuable information that may come in handy one day, and will help shatter a lot of the naive conceptions people have of disabilities. Should you see someone you know who has a disability, don't be afraid to say hi. It's not contagious. It's not necessary to act paternalistically to a person with a disability, as many are at the same cognitive ability as you, many even higher. An important issue to persons with disabilities is their ability to do as much as possible independently. If you as an able-bodied person has a hard time understanding why this would be an issue, take a moment to imagine your daily routine. Now imagine yourself being limited in your routine, and someone having to help you in many aspects of this routine, thus making you dependent. This is not too far-fetched from what I experience every day. The only difference between you and me is that you can stop imagining. In closing, I would just like to say that I hope through this event we're able to share with you the disabled perspective of life at UCI. We have some demonstrations planned to take place here. Coming up right now, we will have Dr. Lenhoff and his daughter Sylvia performing for you. At 12:30, Olympic hopeful wheelchair racer Keith Dysart will be speaking. At 1 o'clock, Renee Soleil will be putting on a tennis demonstration right here on our makeshift tennis court. And at 1:30, there will be a demonstration of Canine Companions for Independence. So feel free to browse through the exhibits we have set up. Many of the places are accepting volunteers to sign up, so you can volunteer to sign up for those. And be sure and ask questions. Thank you for attending.
Thank you, Larry. I'm Howard Lenhoff from the Department of Biological Sciences, and many of you, I hope, have had my class Bio 1D. If you haven't, take it next quarter. And in this class, I discuss how people have children and how sometimes it doesn't work out the way they would hope it works out. And I learned this as personal experience. My firstborn daughter, Gloria, was born with a mental handicap and some physical handicaps. And since then, I've been very concerned about individuals with handicaps, and the devised this course particularly